So, Tim, I don't think I've met you before. This is if this is your first time in the marketing Q&A Ask Me Anything room. The way that we do this room is that hi, hello. Uh, the way we do this room is that there's no agenda, there's no presentation. I am here making myself available to answer any questions or brainstorm any problems that you might have with marketing. And it could be marketing your business, it could be branding, it could be whatever it is. I am available to chat and to brainstorm and to help, but there's no agenda here. So that's literally it. How are you today? It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. I'm working with Josh Reef with Plus One Real Estate.
Okay.
So he drives a lot of the marketing, with the look and the feel, of our social media. And
Right.
but my big issue is we moved over from Side. I say we. He's the founder of Plus One Real Estate, and I'm one of his partners. I just have not been able to get fully connected to Radius. I've done an orientation. I see the rooms. I find sometimes I'll go to a room and a meeting that was scheduled hasn't really happened or isn't really there. So I'm just trying to get a little more connected and feel have that feeling of belonging to a brokerage.
Yeah.
And so I'm not blaming anybody. I don't know, if I can. My tendency is always to blame myself. Think I'm not doing it right.
But, no, you're all good. Which rooms had you attempted to join that hadn't started? Do you remember the names of them at all?
Oh, there was one, I think, is it D. Wilmore or the broker. I think there was one last week where I kept getting notices that it moved a couple of times, and I kind of chased it, but I never could catch it. So I don't want to. I'm pretty sure it was one of the broker meetings, but.
Okay, good to know. Well, I can follow up with Dee and make sure that doesn't happen again in the future. So thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, I mean, but it couldn't have been just me. I'm sure there must have been other people signed up for the rooms. But
absolutely.
Yeah, and but the big thing is, like I say, with Josh kind of doing a lot of the marketing stuff. When I joined him, he did get me to go on. On Instagram, which I'd never done before. And I've never was very active on Facebook, but I connected that to Instagram. So I'm getting a little more comfortable with that and having some fun with it too. So, that's great. Now I don't want to monopolize here. I see there's somebody named William who's also joined us. So
William is an internal employee. He's here almost like to make sure the room is running smoothly and to troubleshoot everything. So you've got our full attention, Tim.
Yeah.
I would love to hear more about like you're dipping your toe into the world of social media. So what have you been doing or working on in Instagram that you are finding is working or isn't working, or that you enjoy doing or not? What have you been working on?
I'm not a new agent. First of all, this, you could probably tell from my face, is a second career. I started about 6 years ago, although I've been a real estate investor for 4 decades. I just was never that big in Facebook. There was a time when I thought that could become my handle. Like, I'm going to be the realtor who is successful not using Facebook, especially because a lot of people who like Facebook are actually my age. My fans that he was looking at as the neighborhood he wants to be established in, which is Hancock Park. And I've lived there in a beautiful home for like more than 30 years. So, and I hope to be elected on the board for the Homeowners Association for Hancock Park in the Hollywood area of Los Angeles. So I really want to really do a big push around that if in fact I end up joining the board. There's a lot of agents that have been here who are my age. You know, I've never felt that any of my success or not success. I started off with kind of a bang 6 years ago, but by the time I had left Keller Williams and come to Josh, I was really looking to do something different because it just wasn't working anymore. But I've never felt this was necessarily an ageist business. I think there are always going to be people that like, you know, they're not going to mind gray hair. You know, they're going to like someone that's lived in a neighborhood 30 years. So maybe, and because some of the top producing agents in my neighborhood are probably my age and have been, unlike me, been doing it for 30 or more years. So anyway, I'm just blabbing away nonstop, but those are
I like that.
some of the stuff that I'm up to, you know, and
one of the things that I keep hearing from some of our more successful teams here at Radius is that getting involved in the community has been a game changer for their business growth, right?
Yeah.
And so just from like a brand awareness, business awareness perspective, the more involved you get and the community that you're wanting to work and be a leader for is the best way to market your business. So I absolutely love that. I definitely think you should double down on that on social media. And I would actively engage your audience in person in those community events or when you go to the homeowners meetings or whatever. One of the things I feel like marketers don't do enough of is talk to their audience. We tend to be like a hide behind the computer type of people, and make a lot of decisions based off of data or what sales tells us or whatever. When I think that the best thing that we can do is actually talk to our audience and ask them blatant questions about what's the best way to connect with you. So if you're getting into the homeowners association and going to be more involved in the community, every time you are with somebody personally, ask them that question. Like, are you on Facebook or are you on Instagram? If I put a video up about this, would that be interesting to you? Do you even follow? Do you like to see listing videos versus hear about trends on like buying or selling a house? Gosh, ask them those questions. And then base decisions off of what your audience is actually telling you they like or they don't like.
Yeah, I mean, it is also, I'm in a program where we talk sometimes about the 500-pound telephone, but I really, really have a hard time getting on the phone. And the better I know somebody, the closer a friend I am, the less I like it, because it feels intrusive and it feels not genuine, you know. And cold calling, not a problem, you know. I don't have to take it personally if someone doesn't want to talk to me, you know. I don't think I'm alone in that. I think it's hard for almost everybody to talk. I'm most comfortable with email, but again, partly that's the era. You know, I had 30 years in the advertising business, very heavily email based. very B2B, which is also easy on your ego because people get paid to talk to you. You know, they're not going to be rude, you know, even if they don't buy your product, but you know, that's their job to talk to you. So, you know, but I do think, and I one of the things I did when I joined Josh is I was able to get my email database up to over 2,000 from about 600.
Wow.
That's been good. I mean, he's way over that, but he's just attracting people from everywhere. You know, I would say that so, you know, I do think I've done marketing courses. There is some really great stuff you can do on email. At one point I was specializing, I did the NAR, you know, program for seniors and helping, you know, people that are getting ready to downsize or whatever. But it's interesting. I've not really ever been able to monetize that. You know, I've never gotten a client who was getting ready to move, you know, to, you know, assisted living or something like that. I don't want to be someone that just wants to tell you why something didn't work. It turns out to be very tricky. You basically, by the time a senior's at that point, there's another family member involved. And, you know, you're not going to find them on the county records. You know, it's very, very tough to, you know, find those people, though, you know, but, you know, but that is something that I've been, you know, looking at. And I actually let my designation slide because it just really wasn't adding anything to my, you know, my social media or any, and it was, you know, singling me out as a senior or a senior specialist. And you know, I'm happy to be a senior specialist if I'm getting a lot of listings.
Right.
Yeah.
You really have to kind of like suss out whether like what your addressable market is there, you know, especially in your area. And maybe it's quite large, but then that means you're going to have to pour all of your energy and resources into being that one very niche person or business to go to. And maybe that works, but there's a lot of effort and a lot of finagling. Like you said, once you hit that stage, you're probably dealing with multiple decision makers, not just a single decision maker. And I agree with you. Social media is probably not your play. Your play is probably email or events, especially events that might involve multiple generations attending, instead of just a single senior individual.
Yeah. I lost a listing with someone I had been pursuing. I'd even met their children. Their children said they weren't ready to move. And then I continued to stay in touch with their parents, but they asked me not, you know, they kind of unsubscribed me. So I didn't communicate with them. But another guy did get the listing recently and really say that I did continue to be in contact with the parents. But again, they may not have been the decision maker, you know, and you know, so, you know, so I've got, do you know, with Josh, I'm going to give him a call later on. He is using this really upmarket website builder that I don't know if Radius has a affiliation with them or not. Do you have anyone that you guys are highly affiliated with? Because
we work with Luxury Presence.
Okay, that is the one. Yeah, that is the one. I don't want to, it's not telling tales out of school, but I want to talk to him today. He's got this super, super slick. And one of the things, I think in a way it made Josh really appealing to me, besides the fact that he's a lot younger than I am. But he also loves modern. He loves modern houses, modern architecture. And I don't think it has anything to do with my age. I just don't. You know, I just like older, more traditional houses. But like I say, but our current website on the homepage has got some women in very, very, very skimpy bikinis. and it really isn't cool. I mean, I don't mind if you want to take a look, but I don't need you to validate my opinion. I'm going to mention it to him. I wouldn't want to show it to the people I'm trying to get to list with. To me, that's all I need to know about it. And again, I'm not telling tales. But if you've got a sense of luxury presence or whatever, I don't know if it's a typical thing for them to go super high-end luxury, very scantily clad women on sailboats, out on the ocean.
I would luxury presence websites are highly customizable.
Okay.
So I would say whatever the photography that is being used on the homepage was most likely selected, but definitely approved by the team or brokerage owner. So that's a conversation that I would have with Josh, because it does sound like there's some conflicting messaging or like audience marketing that would be going on if you are really trying to establish yourself with with this audience, and then the messaging and imagery of the website that you're affiliated with doesn't mesh. There's a problem there.
But and I've seen that in the past. There was another listing that I didn't get where the guy, but that's partly because I have so few transactions and a lot of Josh's are not in this neighborhood. Well, he can't help that, and neither can I. So, when the guy said, that his sales are in Beverly Hills, or, it's like, you can't
please everybody.
Not changeable,
That is marketing for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna put something on your website that's not gonna appeal to other people, and that's tough. That's tough. So it sounds like you guys need to align on like the marketing, or like the brand, and then the addressable market that aligns with that brand. And maybe it's the type of thing where when you send your book of business to the website, maybe you don't send it to the homepage, right? Like maybe it's a page, maybe it's a URL that's deeper in the site that doesn't have yacht with the scantily clad young ladies on it.
That's a conversation I can have with him. It's it's a minor point. I don't mind the modernness of it, the slickness of it. Let me take advantage of having your undivided attention for another 10 minutes. I know this was a half an hour, I believe it was set up for.
It is.
I'd like to get your take. The one social media I always was very comfortable with was LinkedIn, because I always saw it as a job search site, and a networking site, so I never felt funny about talking about business on it rather than personal. And I don't have a massive presence, but I probably have about 2,500 people I'm linked in with, which is way more, 10 times what I've got on Facebook or Instagram. Honestly, the whole 6 years I've been in real estate full time and really doing a deep dive, I haven't really have been able to monetize it at all. I mean, I can write people on their birthdays and on their promotions and congratulate them. And if I used to know them when I worked in advertising, the ones I knew best and really liked, we might meet for a coffee. But generally, I don't know if you see it as a serious real estate site, for real estate leads. And you can be honest about it, because I'm on it, and I do post, and I keep it very businesslike. I generally do forecasts or market reports, or what I post there, because I think it's what people want there.
So the strategy that I see most people employing for creating lead gen from LinkedIn is not from their posts. It's from the inbox messages. It's from like an actual like cold messaging process within LinkedIn. And so they kind of establish themselves as a thought leader with the content that they post on LinkedIn. And then as people are engaging with either their posts or other posts of the same type of topic, other posts that are relatable to the hashtags that they've used, they start using the people that are interacting with those posts as their outreach list. And so they start cold messaging people in their LinkedIn DMs, and reaching out to them like that. I get that type of outreach almost on a daily basis. It's usually like financial advisors or like corporate, like corporate executive coaching businesses and stuff like that, right? So they search me out based off of who I am or what posts I've been interacting with, and then I get just a barrage of messages in my inbox. And some of them I engage with, and some of them I immediately delete, type of thing. It's no different than email marketing, Tim. It's no different. Kind of start with this like super high level top of funnel list, and you're sending messages to folks. And LinkedIn has, of course, monetized this process. So if you want to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator to reach out to more than your allotted number of reach outs on a monthly basis, then you have to pay them for that. There are some real estate businesses that have seen great, really great response from that strategy. It takes a lot of time and effort, and it's no different than doing cold email outreach or cold calls. It's just a different platform. And I do think that it's usually a different it's a different type of persona that you're working with on LinkedIn, because it's a professional platform. It's not like Instagram where every soccer mom or dad or like it's a very professional, business oriented platform. So you just have like a different persona of people that of consumer that you're working with there. So it's just, again, it kind of goes back to like, who are your people? Who are the people that you're trying to engage? It's probably not going to be the seniors, are not going to be on LinkedIn. So if that's kind of, they're not going to be there.
No, that I wasn't looking. And my final question would be, on Instagram right now, we first of all, we don't have a lot of transactions and open houses right now in our group. But my Instagram is my name, Realtor, and Tim A. Paulson, Realtor, and I have been using it. I am kind of all over LA. I just, like a lot of us, I've just got a lot of different things going on, and I just see stuff that I consider interesting all the time, and it generally. I use a lot of hashtags after every post that tie into real estate, international real estate, luxury, interior design, that sort of thing. So the hashtags are there. My name's got realtor in it, so clearly it's about real estate. It's about a lot about neighborhoods, the neighborhood I'm in, the famous house I'm in front of, and I see it as maybe branding me somewhat as an LA expert, history of LA, sociology of LA, what's going on in LA. But it's a pretty soft marketing in terms of real estate. It's not the open house that I'm looking at this week, or not. I would do that if I was at one. I did one recently on a Howard Hughes house that he owned. So I will do that if that's the interesting thing that I've done recently. But I don't know if you have any opinion about that kind of relatively soft sell, I guess I would call it.
I have a lot of thoughts on this. First off, I think that as business people, and especially as marketers, we tend to view marketing channels as billboards, right? Like, I'm going to do email marketing, and so I'm going to throw a bunch of email content into everybody's inboxes, and I'm going to do social media, and so I'm going to post about my open house, and I'm a realtor, and look at me, look at me, and look at me. That's not how people use social media, right? Especially well, not especially, just everybody. It's not how people use social media. Social media has basically become TV in a way, right? They've become little snippets of like little television shows almost. It's 2.5 minutes of an interesting topic, and then I'm on to the next one. And so I actually think that you have the right idea, because unless I am actually shopping for a house, I'm not really interested in what the realtor down the street is showing or what they're listing or what they're selling, right? If I'm actually shopping for a house and you hit me at just the right moment, I'm super interested in that. But as a consumer myself, I'm way more interested in like the quirky guy from LA who knows everything about LA history and then like takes me on a little like ride and then shows me a 1.5-minute clip of this really cool house and tells me all about the history. I don't even live in LA, and I am totally following that channel, right? Like, I can't wait until the next time to follow Tim, and the next time Tim pops up in my feed, because I will absolutely watch that 90-second clip and look at that cool house and know the history, and then I'm on to the next thing, right? But if I live in LA and I follow you, and I remember Tim, like the really cool guy from Hollywood Hills that like does all the cool like history content. Oh, he's a realtor too. I totally want to talk to him. He knows every secret spot. He knows every single person. He's got all these great connections. He's got history, man. Like, I think that's a way better social media strategy than just like, here's my listing on a random Wednesday, and thinking people that are going to convert or come back when they're ready to convert. If that's just all the content it is.
So. Okay, well that's great feedback, and of course I like, since it validates me somewhat. Of course I like it. Thank you.
Katie, our social media person.
It does sound.
Our social media person, Katie, has this. I forget what she calls it, but it's like she always says that the content that we put on social should be entertainment, engagement, and what's the other one, Ela? Informative. There you go. Entertainment, engagement, and education. It's the three E's, right? E's. Yeah. And so like 90% of your content should fall into one of those buckets. Should be informative.
Okay.
You're educating them on something, or you're entertaining them, and then you sprinkle in the hard sells or the asks, right? Like, oh, by the way, every post that you put on Instagram is, I'm Tim and I'm also a realtor, would love to chat with you. Here's my listing that I have. Here are the listings I have available. But most of your content should be falling into one of those three E's. I guess informative isn't an E, an I.
Oh, I see it's noon. My final thing would be, it does sound like you're leaning heavy on video though, right? Because you kept talking about snippets and thing on it. Is that in fact?
That is a fact.
Advocate a lot of it video.
All of these platforms are prioritizing video content, all of them. And so if you're posting still photos, I'm not saying that people won't engage with them and they don't like them. I'm saying that Instagram as a platform is going to prioritize the video content over that still image.
Okay, good to know. All right. Well, this is great. I'm really glad we got to meet today. Yeah. And Isla, did you set it up? Thank you for that. And I will. I'll get back to Josh about that homepage. And anyway, thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tim. It was a pleasure speaking with you and getting a little bit more about your background.
Yeah. Love it.
Good. Thank you so much. See you.
Awesome.
Thank
Have
you.
a wonderful
Bye-bye.
rest of your Wednesday. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.